This is episode 4 of 12 of the Magical Musical Instruments series. This is the Sandsong Kalimba. Welcome to the Magical Musical Orchestra, a musical world where music and magic intertwine. The wind lulls wild creatures to sleep, the stars sing lullabies, and otherworldly people create instruments that, when played, bring this world to life. Here, music is not just a source of entertainment, but a powerful force that can alter the world. The musicians play melodies that can heal wounds, calm storms, grow lush landscapes, summon animals, conjure gentle rain. Yet, these musicians can also evoke fear, ward off threats, and protect the realm from darkness. Let's begin a journey through this fantastical land, where the Magical Musical Orchestra weave dreams, paint beauty, and summon power to fill every corner of the world. I really hope you've been enjoying the series so far. I love this one. I had a really good time with this instrument and putting together the little description and thinking of the materials and this and that and designing it. So let me quickly show you a little speed paint of me doing the design of the illustration and the instrument here. So I use my iPad, which is a big one, 12.9. A couple of people asked in the last few comments. I use a 12.9 inch iPad, which is a couple years old now, maybe 3 years old. And I love it. It's so much easier doing my sketches on the iPad. And then what I've been doing is making the illustration really light purple and setting the opacity to about 20% or less, and taking that from my iPad and printing it onto my watercolor paper. I usually do 2 at a time because each of my paintings are like A5 size, so I'll print 2 on one A4 piece of paper and cut it in half. So this is the result of this. This is how light it is. And a few people have asked about that in the comments, and I thought I would talk about that a little bit. So this technique was taught to me by my lovely friend Mel Macklin, who is known as Maud of Moss Forest on Instagram and YouTube. She taught me this, and it was a total game changer. So I have an archival quality printer which prints Gicle or Sicle prints. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Yeah, so I use that. So I've had no issues with like weird like bleeding or my paintbrush picking up the inkjet ink on the paper or anything like that. But maybe that's also because it's set to an extremely low opacity with a really soft color. But yeah, if you want to give this a go, just play around with a few different things and a few different settings. Make sure your printer is set to the right paper width and the right platen gap and all that kind of stuff. It took me a couple little trial and error goes before I figured out what worked best for me in my printer. But it really has made my process so much faster, and it's great. And the super light purple actually gets lost under all the colors and under all the layers eventually. Like, you can barely see it. There's some parts where you can see it if I've decided to not paint this little sparkle or like change the dimension of this and that. You can sometimes see it, but I have been painting over those little bits with some white gouache, which I have documented in a couple of the episodes coming up. And also I will take my illustration, I scan it and I take it into Procreate again, and I just clean up little bits and stuff. Because I'm taking this to print, it's going to be the 2025 calendar. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet, but this is the 2025 calendar coming up, which is on its way. I'm going to do a big shop update soon with this and a few other goodies. But yeah, because it's going to print and I'm going to be making art prints of them and maybe some stickers, who knows, I just want to make it nice and clean. So I have in Procreate taken out a couple of those little purple guidelines that have kind of poked their way out around the illustration. So yeah, there is a little bit of editing at the end, and I really enjoy doing the editing part, and also when I scan things, I get little bits of fluff and dog hair in it, and so I clean all those kind of things up. And if there are any bits of line work in my ink painting that have kind of bled or gone a bit wonky, I'll give them a little bit of a clean up as well. So I had a lot of fun painting this one. I really enjoy the color palette of this. I love me some like oranges and rusts and yellows, and I was just feeling like 70s dream babe here with her kalimba. The colours, so good. I'm very excited about this one. So let me tell you a little bit about the Sandsong Kalimba and the musician that created it. So here are some of the materials that make up the Sandsong Kalimba. It's made of a desert driftwood. There are spiced copper tines or teens. I'm not quite sure how to call them. Teens? Sunstone inlays, and there is a resonant sand chamber inside the kalimba. And this is the little description. The sound of the Sandsong Kalimba reflects the desert itself, dry, sparse, and hauntingly beautiful. It produces melodies that can slow the passage of time, giving workers of the land the time they need to grow healthy crops, or simply to provide a moment of peace and reflection. The Sandsong Kalimba was carved from desert driftwood, found only in the most arid regions where ancient trees once stood. The copper teens produce a light tone when plucked, each note carrying a warmth that echoes the heat of the sun. The resonant sound chamber inside creates a shifting sound, which can cause feelings of drowsiness, confusion, or peace, depending on the intent of the musician. The sunstone inlays resonate lightly with each note, adding a faint bell-like sustain to the music. And as I mentioned in previous videos, the inks I use are just a jumble of all sorts of different brands. I used a few eco lines in this one, some diamine inks, some of the Munami inks, which I love, and some Liquitex acrylic ink. And one of my favorites, which I've almost run out of now, is one by a brand called Monteverde, USA. I got these in Malaysia many years ago and I just adore them. I wish I bought more. They're super pigmented and wonderful. So yeah, all my favorite inks got used in this piece and I'm really happy with it and I hope you love it. And I'm looking forward to telling you a little bit more about the calendar when it comes out. And yeah, I hope you love it and see you in the next one. Okay, tooroo.